All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BaHaShem, YAHAWASHI, BaHaShem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. All right, you want to introduce yourself, brother?
Hey, we had this debate with this loser, this clown, Vocab Malone, at camp last night, and he gave us a lot of great material to go in and edify the body of YAHAWAH, man. The elect of YAHAWASHI can take a lot from this. I wouldn't even call this a debate that we have with these guys. Really, it was us ripping them to shreds. But a lot of times he was deflecting. He was using, of course, Edomite semantics. This is double-tongue tactics that we're just accustomed to seeing. He didn't realize that we had a lot of experience with debate with Edomites, with people much higher than his intellect. He thinks he's smart, but he's really low level. I don't respect this guy at all. But a lot of times he was asking questions. He was not allowing the elders and priests to answer the questions. He kept, again, using deflection tactics, semantics. Even he would resort to lying on the scriptures. A lot of the times he was breaking down the scriptures wrong, and then when he was getting corrected, he would just spew his madness. But it was beautiful and edifying, because those that were watching could see that he was distraught and he didn't know what to do. But this particular clip we're going to show is going to highlight one of the questions that he asked to the elder Yahshua, but again, we weren't really allowed to expound on the answer because of his fickle, feeble, weak, low-natured mindset.
Yeah, I mean, he asked a question, another question before we answer the first one. So we dealt in the order that the Spirit allowed us to answer. So, but like the brother Sa'anala said, we're gonna go into the question that he asked to try to trip us up, or to try to defer us from answering the first question. Yeah, we'll go ahead and start.
So we're gonna just start here.
Another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God.
Right, so these angels basically have control over the destruction that's coming to this earth. In which, do you believe that America is going to be destroyed?
I believe the whole world.
How is the whole world going to be destroyed?
It's in the book of Peter.
The whole world is not.
The elements will melt.
The elements are going to melt, but
Right.
the whole world is not going to be destroyed.
It'll be like the days of the
Babylon is
flood.
gonna be destroyed.
What happened during the days of the flood?
Right.
Was the whole world deluged? Yes or no?
Yes, but
Will it be deluged again, but not this time with water? Yes, it will.
You see right there. See, that's another semantical thing. See, you got to listen to Esau, man. The whole world was not destroyed during the flood. The population of the world was destroyed, and animals were destroyed, but the earth was not completely destroyed.
Con, I got a precept.
Okay, go ahead, Doc.
Yes, sir. This is Elder Yahshua quoted it, but this is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 4. It says, "One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever."
The earth will abide forever. The YAHAWASHI has never proclaimed ever to destroy the whole earth, man. Okay. Now, even when you read in our curses, it talks about how we were going to be destroyed. But does that mean that we're just going to be wiped off the face of the earth? Particularly pertaining to the nation of Israel? No. Okay. And so, no, the whole earth is not going to be destroyed. And there's many scriptures that talk about Babylon specifically being destroyed in Revelation. And when we were talking about Peter, of course, Peter has an understanding of the truth. How do we know that? Quickly read Luke 24 and 44.
This is Luke chapter 24 and 44. And he said unto them, "These are the words."
Now, this is, if you had a red letter Bible, this is YAHAWASHI speaking. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, "These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled."
All things must be fulfilled. Must be, which that meaning that hadn't been fulfilled yet. Go ahead.
which were written in the law of,
So everything must be fulfilled that was written in the law. Go ahead.
which were written in the law of Moses and in the prophets
And in the prophets, so the prophecies.
and in the Psalms
And in the Psalms. Go ahead.
concerning me.
Concerning YAHAWASHI. Go ahead.
Then opened he their understanding, and that they might understand the scriptures.
That they might understand Scripture. So Peter is going to understand what Revelations is talking about, man. And it ain't talking about the whole world being destroyed, man.
Fire that's
I'm answering
coming.
your question.
The fire that's coming is prophesied to come to Babylon the Great, right?
Peter
Revelation
doesn't say
18
that.
chapter.
Peter doesn't
So
say it's
Peter don't
limited.
agree with Revelation.
Boom, that's a cut to him.
Babylon. I didn't say that.
Because it talks about Babylon,
Answer this.
because Revelations talks about Babylon being destroyed. You know? So, you know, he wants to say that we're contradiction, but you're contradicting what the scriptures say, not us, bro.
Peter limit the destruction of this
Oh no,
kingdom
that's going to be
to earth.
Other places are going to be destroyed.
Or does he limit it to
But the
Babylon
whole
alone?
earth abided forever, according to the Bible.
Right.
The earth
So
abided
it's not just Babylon.
Even with the flood, the earth still existed. The earth was destroyed in the flood in the sense of catastrophic devastation.
That's
That's
true.
what you're talking about, cool. But the earth didn't end.
I didn't
the
say
earth
it
wasn't
all.
done away with.
Revelation says there's a new heaven and a new earth.
Yeah, that's
So
That means refreshed. That word new.
whatever God does with it, what's left will be new
he's
heaven
gonna
and
put
new
it into
earth.
the hands
But
of his
there's
son
going to be
and
no
the joint
portion of
hands of
geography
Israelites.
that's going to be spared God's judgment. It's not going to just be on America.
Jeremiah 4:24.
Do you believe only America will be judged?
No.
Okay, then we agree. Then we
There's other
agree.
places but the main destruction that is spoken of Babylon the Great.
Now, the point of this lesson is coming up, which the title of it is going to, basically go into answering the question that Vocab Malone is about to pose here.
What's okay? I hear you.
Babylon the Great.
I know Revelation 18. What's your proof? Revelation 18 is talking only about America when it says Babylon the Great. What's your evidence for this? You just give me maybe one.
Right, so he said, Elder Yashawamba said there's various proofs, all right, but we were answering a question that he had already asked us before, right? So, all that to say, these last, 8 minutes going into, we're going to answer that question.
Right.
Okay?
What? Yeah.
And we're going to use it proving Revelation 18 alone. Okay? Through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. Because that's what he asked, right? So we're gonna go into it. So we can go ahead and get Revelation 18. We can start at the first verse, okay? And you brothers gonna be edified. So
this is Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. And it says, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
right. So this is the angel basically prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great. Okay, and we're going to identify who Babylon the Great is. All right, and prove to you that Babylon the Great in Revelation the 18th chapter is talking solely and particularly specifically about America. Okay?
Right.
Go ahead, Ak.
Verse 3 says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through her abundance of her delicacies.
Right, so there's 2 points right there. It says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Okay, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. Now, when you read the previous chapter, Revelation 17, it talks about Babylon, I'll say the great whore, right? That the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication in the 2nd chapter. Okay, so if y'all was going to read that, but we're going to go into basically statistics and evidence. All right, that the wine of the wrath of her fornication is going into the ways and the philosophies of America, and not any other nation or a combination of multiple other nations.
Right, because when it comes to prophecy and them being fulfilled, and those who have spiritual eyes to witness it, you're able to extrapolate and put two and two together. Now, see, this guy, Vocab Malone, he's an Edomite, man. He ain't gonna be able to extrapolate the scriptures and get the truth, man, because it's not in him. Okay, that's why he has to come to our platform to get answers. Because if we ask him, okay, then what is Babylon right here talking about? He'll probably say some man that's like, oh, that's talking about the whole entire world.
Well, he couldn't answer what the mark of the beast was. So how can we expect him to know, who Babylon the Great is and the Great Whore and all that?
Well, he said it was sin.
That's
that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense when you read the scriptures. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
we can get that first point.
Yeah. Let me see.
The sphere of we're gonna get the definition first
Right.
of the sphere of influence, because basically that's what this is going into. All right, the influence or the philosophies that these other nations follow.
Right.
All right, so go.
Because that wine and wrath of fornication is going into how America has spread its philosophies and way of thinking on the whole world. Okay, this is a sphere of influence or interest. It says a country or area in which another country has power to affect developments, although it has no formal authority.
Right, and so who is going out and basically proclaiming themselves to be what they call a world peacemaker or something like that? Basically patrolling the earth. All right, lands that have nothing to do with themselves particularly, and getting themselves involved in foreign matters. Who is the chief nation that has all of these military bases and dozens and dozens of countries all throughout the entire world? Okay, who is the one that's doing these things? We have to ask ourselves, what single nation is this talking about?
Right.
No, it's what's it called? Process of elimination, man.
That's right.
Now we're gonna go and get the actual seven spheres. I don't know if you saw that. The seven spheres of influence right here.
Right.
Go ahead.
These are the seven spheres of influence. Okay. When we're talking about the totality of being able to have influence on other areas and regions of the planet without having any formal authority, right? Okay, so it talks about worship, belief systems, and religion.
Right. So who in the hell is the epicenter of pushing out the biggest religion on earth? Well, we know Christianity is the biggest religion on earth, right? Well, what nation harbors the most fervent, strongest believers in Christianity? America.
Right, and you see it all the time with these missionaries and all the different things that they built from the Protestant Reformation, where you had all of these Christians jump on a boat, and where'd they go? They came over here to the Americas and they wreaked havoc on the so-called natives over here, man.
Okay.
In the name of Christianity.
That's right.
And then they spread their bullshit and their lies to the rest of the planet Earth.
Exactly.
As they conquered, man.
Exactly.
An example of that is if we can grab Second Maccabees real quick, of how Esau has done that in human history, because he does it all the time. Just real quick, I want to just give an example of that in the scriptures.
Okay.
When you go to Second Maccabees, I'm gonna try to pull it up here online. When you go to Second Maccabees, I believe it's the 6th chapter, and you can start at the first verse.
Okay. This is 2 Maccabees chapter 6 and 1. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of the Most High.
And not live after the laws of the Most High. Keep going.
And to pollute and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympius, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places.
Matter of fact, jump to verse 6.
Verse 6 says, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Boom, and that's what you with that. This is the influences that America has on the rest of the world, man. Through his worship, belief system, and religion, they made it to where you had to call you call yourself Black, African American, all these different things, and then they didn't allow us to read our original text or speak in our original languages, man.
Right. Right, and if you look back to this account that we just read, who was the sphere of influence during that time? Well, it was the Greeks. Okay, though they were the ones who had power to affect the developments. Okay, although it had no formal authority. Okay, it had power to basically overcome and impose its beliefs on our people. What the hell is that thing we just had? Oh, it's like, where is it? All right. So the second point, right? Family. Yep. So the family unit, which is completely destroyed here, man, in America. All right, is basically said to be. I mean, women can be however slutty they want to be, man. Okay, there doesn't need to be two parents in the household. Okay, just the morals of the family unit in America is spread out to all of the countries of the earth, man. Okay, to where now you have women's rights going on in all these other countries too, man, and gay rights and all of this stuff that used to be basically prohibited,
frowned upon,
looked
down upon.
Yeah, man.
Because homosexuality has been in other kingdoms, right? But it was still frowned upon. Okay, now in this society, when you fast forward to now it's whatever,
bro. It's encouraged.
Even if you speak against it, you could get locked up, man. You know,
and it's the same thing that's going on. As soon as you've seen homosexuality being legalized, was it by Obama? You have other nations legalizing it too. But who was the first one to do it like that? America.
That's right. That's right.
So that's another sphere of influence. Shows you America is that sphere of influence. Next one says the media. Okay, it's social media. You
have news.
Yep.
Social media, newspapers. You know what I'm saying? You have all these ways of passing all these books. Okay. They pass all these
movies. Who started movies?
Right? TV shows.
And theaters, going to the theater and all that.
They control all of that, man. They control the narrative of all of that.
Right.
Okay. Well, one that we're going to get into, which would a point that we were going to make here later, is when you Google the largest genocides in human history. They don't make mention of the the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. They talk about all these other things, and we're gonna show that too. So they use their media to control the narrative of what they want pushed.
Yeah, for example,
their philosophies, which goes back to Revelations, 18:3.
That's right. For example, you have Hollywood, right, and then in India you have what? Bollywood. Right. That's their version of Hollywood. Why the hell did India copy them if America wasn't a sphere of influence, man? In the media section, right? Next we got what? Government and politics, which America has gone to hella wars, all right, to squander the communist countries, okay, and to spread democracy upon the planet Earth. The so-called best, what do they call it? Orientation of government. I don't know what it's called. All right, in the eyes of America, that's the best. That's the best government to have. Democracy.
Democracy.
And now what you got all of these
BS,
right? And now you got all these prime ministers and presidents of these different nations. When before you had what? Kings. Where the hell are the kings at? You don't see no kings like that anymore. King this and king that.
Yeah, they all following. You got Queen Elizabeth, but they still fall in line with what America has going on.
Right. They still have a prime minister.
Right.
So that's but anyway, that's another one. That's another one, right? And then we have what? Education, science, and technology.
Where do we start and end with that one, man?
Right. You know, well, first of all, who is the you got these different countries coming in from all over the world. You got a bunch of Elamites, Indians, and then Chinese people.
Oh shit!
You know,
everybody
coming to these colleges and all this stuff, getting degrees and getting these. Even they go to school over there and they come to America and they get these IT jobs and all that.
And I see that all the time. We saw it in grad school. Mm-hmm. You know, all these people from other countries coming in. Mm-hmm. You know, saying that America has the best educational system in the world.
Right. Well, why would they say
really
that?
is ranked one of the lowest as far as in developed countries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But why would they say that? Because America is held in high regard in the eyes of other nations.
That's right.
You know, that's why everybody wants to get over here. You don't see everybody trying to go out. Oh man, I can't wait. I'm gonna move to South Africa. I'm gonna move to France, man.
Right.
You got a whole bunch. They got programs for you to move to France. Nah, man. But they got that in other countries to come to America, man.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And then you got what? Economy, commerce, finance, and business. Right, and
the Revelation is gonna go into that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the best? Who has the best economy in the on the planet? America. Okay, who holds the biggest currency in the entire world? U.S. dollars, man. Okay, finance. You know, Esau is the king of finance and shit over here, man. Mm-hmm. Everything's financed over here. Mm-hmm. And then what? And America has the biggest debt in the whole world. You know, and then what? Business, man. Walmart, like one of the biggest corporations in the entire world, and is what? American company. That's one example. Okay, and now you got all these different companies that try to mimic these companies that are developed there or started over here in America.
That's right.
Now, what was the last one? Arts and culture,
celebration, entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
When it's when you talk about the music industry.
That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, music, man.
Movie industry.
Music is big.
Nightlife industry. As far as art and culture and shit, I think that it's whack.
It's destroyed.
But
these other nations are they letting go of their art and culture?
Right.
So America has no art and culture, but they say, okay, well, fuck it, you ain't gonna have none either. You know. Mm-hmm. And they, celebration, all that stuff, man. These other nations, they just trying to be like America in every way, man.
Well, it's really the slaves in this country that push all of that stuff as far as number 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's I think that's about it on the 7 fears.
That's right.
7 fears. And then so that's verse 3. And then if you continue on in the middle of verse 3 in Revelation 18, it says, "And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." Okay, so how in the hell are these other nations gonna wax rich if the person who they're waxing rich from isn't super rich? You see, because if these other countries are waxing rich through the abundance of this mystery Babylon delicacies, well, this country that has all of these riches has to be able to give it out in order to make another country rich. Okay, and so the question is, who is the largest importer or the largest importer of goods, I should say, in the world? And your brother got it right here on the screen. Lo and behold, America, United States, 13% of the total global imports. However, if you look at the population of America, it's only a little bit over 3% of the world's total population. All right, so America has way more imports and just choices of just random stuff, okay, in the compared to all these other nations, has way more choices, man. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that shows you, and in China it says 10%, right? But there's billions of people, bro. Billions of groups over there. Like hella people over there where they need to import. They should be way by far. India, because you got China and then India, those are the two biggest by population countries, on earth. There should be the number if that was in perspective to the population, but no, it's not. America's way richer than all these other countries, man.
That's right. So America fits this description of Babylon the Great, man.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Can we jump down to Revelation 18 and 11.
This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 11. It says, "And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her."
Right. Pause. Who is the merchants of the earth? Let's go to who. Let's go to the biggest exporters, largest exporters in the world, or top. Not importers, exporters, because the merchants, those are the ones who sell their stuff.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Largest exporters. It's all good. It'll popping up. Exporter in the world. Yep. All right. So you got what? Boom. China, the European Union, Germany. This is 77 more rows. Let's click all of them. Okay. And this is the list of all these countries that are selling to who? Mostly America, right? So you got China, the European, EU, which is all pretty much half of Europe, most of Europe, basically. Right. And then you got U.S., of course, right? Germany, because the U.S. has to export because they import so much, right? And you got Japan. Japan is a huge exporter of goods. Korea, South Korea, France, Netherlands, Italy, Hong Kong, the UK, Canada, Mexico, Singapore, Taiwan, Russia, Switzerland. Okay, the UAE, Belgium, Spain, India, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, Ireland, Australia, Poland, Brazil. All of these nations are, best believe, exporting their goods to the largest importer of goods in the world, which is America, man. And these are all nations that are going to weep and mourn over America when it gets destroyed.
It's crazy. Only 2 of these countries is J countries. Like at the top.
Yeah.
Top 20, only 1. It's like Mexico. That's it.
Which you know, the executives in Mexico are Edomites.
Oh man.
They putting Issachar. He is hired, man. They putting him to work. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
Yep. And so all these countries are rich. These countries have waxing rich through the abundance of America's delicacies.
That's right.
All the money that America's shelling out, right? So when you go into verse 11, it says, "And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore." So when America falls, all of those nations on that list that their brothers just saw, they're gonna be hurt because they're getting the majority of their money from America. Right? It says their merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thyine wood and all manners of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men.
Oh.
Come on, man.
Oh.
Slaves, bro. Who has America's slaves, bro? Americans are slaves, bro. You know what I mean?
Right.
Americans are forced to work pretty much, unless you want to be homeless, right? So you got. It also said what? Chariots, which you got a hella imported cars. Okay, over here. All right. You got Toyotas. Okay. You got Volkswagen and their subsidiaries, okay? And so all of these fine things, these are the finer things that were listed here in this list. Well, America has imported and bought most of these supply of these nations' goods, man. Now it says, verse 14, "And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all." Now I wanted to get that word dainty real quick. Let me go to the interlinear and then get the word dainty. Let me see, all things which were dainty. Okay, which I'm gonna play it in the Greek here.
Strong's G 3045. Leparas.
Right. It says, "Things which pertain to a sumptuous and delicate style of living." Who has the most delicate style of living as far as countries are concerned, on average, out of all other countries, man? It's America. I mean, it only points to America. What other country could this fit, Vocab Malone? How could this not be America? Right? And so that's the point right there on verse 14. Okay, never mind. Yeah, go back up here. So that's the point right there on verse 14, right? And so you know, that's another point. And then I guess we can kind of go down to the point where, you know, all the destruction that this devil has caused here in America at the 24th verse. Unless you had a point, brother.
No, it's good. This is Revelations 18:24, and it says, "In her was found the blood of the prophets."
Talking about Babylon the Great. Okay.
Because we know we ain't talking about ancient Babylon.
No.
Because ancient Babylon's already been destroyed.
Well, I mean, it says it in the beginning of the chapter, right? In verse 2. We read it earlier. It says Babylon the Great is fallen. And so this whole thing is going into the destruction of Babylon the Great.
That's right. So, you know, our counter question is, all right, if America ain't Babylon, then what's Babylon the Great?
Just like Job 9:24.
Right.
You know?
Who is it?
Right. If it ain't him. So
right.
let's read the whole verse
John,
again.
it says, "And in her was found the blood of the prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth," man. Now, the sadistic, twisted mind of Esau, man, Vocab being one of those Edomites, man, they ain't gonna never admit to all of the genocide and BS that they've done to the Israelites, man. But the blood of the prophets was shed here in America, man. Because when you Google the greatest genocides in human history, they don't mention us, man. They mention some all types of bullshit. So, like when you look, let's look here.
Yeah, this right there.
Right. It says biggest famine and genocide, okay, of the 20th century, okay. The first one, of course, as always, is them goddamn Amalekites, man. Okay, the Holocaust from 1939 to 45. The death toll for this act of genocide is extremely varied. The lowest and highest estimates are placed between 4.9 million to 17 million. Let's just go with the high end. Let's just say there was 17 million. Then you got Heliodorma. They say estimates were between 1.8 to 7.5. Let's just go with 7.5. Okay? Cambodian genocide, 3 million. Kazakh genocide, 1.7 million.
But those are all from the what do you say, the 19th? Okay, never mind.
No, they got one here. They got the Zongar genocide from 1755. They said 600,000. Okay, they got some from the 1800s, 1.5 million. 1922, the Greek genocide, 750,000. Now, they never mentioned anything about what happened over here, man. Now, when it's
look, he went even all the way back to the Albig, whatever the hell. What does that say? Albig Crusade in 1209. What the hell is Jake? Where's our crusade? Where's our
what happened to
genocide?
The transatlantic slave trade? All these different things,
Look,
man.
we went back to the Battle of Carthage, right? But what about the transatlantic slave trade, man? Like the brother said, and the genocide of the Native American Indians, man.
So when you look up how many Native Americans died, how many Native Americans were killed? Indigenous people, North and South. Now we're assuming what's talking about North and South America were displaced, died of disease, and were killed by Europeans.
Edomites.
Right.
Important to mark.
Slavery, rape, and war. In 1491, about 145 million people lived in the Western Hemisphere. Okay? By 1691, the population of indigenous Americans had declined by 90 to 95%, or by around 130 million. 130 million. So the highest estimates of their number one genocide was 17 million. The destruction of Jake over here in America by you damn Edomites was 130 million people, man. Almost, 100 times more.
That's an average of 1,780 people dying a day over the course of 200 years. Now,
let's read this. The Atlantic slave trade. This is from Wikipedia. it says, wow, this is just crazy, man. It says estimates of how many blacks died during the slave trade over the 400-year period of slavery vary. While some estimates place the figure between 100 and 200 million, more conservative estimates indicate approximately 14 million people perished.
Bro.
Which we know that's more lies.
Even if it was just 14 million, right? So called. Yeah, Satan trying to just mess it up. But even if it was just 14 million, man, that's like a whole state of people, bro. But we know it was way closer to the estimation of what, say, 100 million to 200 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there was hella Jake, bro, in East Africa and in the Caribbeans.
Yeah,
you know, and so that's very important to mark. So you got at least 100 million plus, what is that? 130 million,
right?
Okay,
right. Well, check this out. This is the Amerindian genocides. All right. It says estimates of the pre-Columbian population vary widely. Now, it's talking about before Columbus got over these motherfuckers. Though uncontroversial studies place the figure for North, Central, and South America at a combined 50 million to 100 million, with scholarly estimates of 2 million to 18 million for North America alone. An estimated 80 to 90% of this population perished after the arrival of Europeans, of Edomites.
come on, bro.
So let's just go with 80% of 50 million.
So that's 40 million, ain't it?
Times 0.8. And Satan just doing bullshit. 62.5 million people, man. Killed, destroyed. But no mention on your top 10, whatever you want to call it, genocide list, man.
Right.
Which goes back, it says, and in her was found the blood of the saints, man.
Blood of the prophets.
Brother of the prophets and of the saints. And all of that was slain upon the earth, man. Y'all went around the whole world. America went around the whole world destroying and killing. And they got rich off of it. They got rich off of the free labor of the Israelites over here in Americas. And they used that to conquer the whole known world. They used that money that they made, those riches that they made, to invest into that military might to go conquer the rest of the planet Earth,
Right.
and to have dominion over the world, man.
Right.
Babylon the Great. America fits the prophecy of Babylon the Great here in Revelation, the 18th chapter, man. So that's how we know that that Babylon the Great is talking about America.
And only America.
And only America, because it fits the prophecy, man.
Right. Those are the 3 points right there, man. America holding the basically the 7 spheres of influence, also known as the wine of the wrath of fornication. Okay. America is the world's largest importer of goods, right? Because all of these nations are selling their goods to America. America has is the richest country in the world, and then America is responsible for shedding the blood of the saints, man, and the prophets, like we just went into. That's your answer to your question, Vocab Malone, and that's all in Revelation 18 alone. We didn't even have to go into any other scriptures to prove that, man.
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right.
So I mean that was the point. I didn't know if you had any points.
I want to end on this, man, because we go through the whole volume of the book, man. So you can get mad that we cutting your ass, but hey, it is what it is. We're going to end it on Jeremiah 51:6. It says, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance." End time prophecy, man. Okay, end time prophecy specifically talking about Babylon. Okay, he will render unto her a recompense, a payback. Okay, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that has made the earth drunken, and the nations were drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. which this is a precept to Revelations 18. Which talks about, for all the nations will have drunk of the wine, the Revelation 18:3, for all the nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Right? So you go back to Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon had been the golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The Lord, so that lets you know that it's specifically separating Babylon from the whole earth. It's specifically talking about Babylon. Okay? Because he stated how the whole world was going to be destroyed. No, Babylon specifically is going to be destroyed by the Lord in his vengeance. Okay? The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed, not the whole earth. How for her? Take balm for her. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. So that's letting you know that there's Babylon and then there's other countries. People going to flee Babylon. So are people going to flee Iraq? Huh?
Right.
No, they ain't talking about Iraq, man. It's talking about how the great melting pot of the world, which is America, how they're going to go back to their own country. Okay, let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even into the sky. So he quoted Peter how it was going the elements are going to burn, melt with fervent heat. Right? Let's talk about that.